Financial freedom is a number with 6 zeros. That's the myth. The truth is, your freedom is a calendar, and the price is paid in hours you currently sell for someone else's profit. You'll learn the 5-year roadmap that separates those who dream about leaving their job from those who build the exit. The hidden cost of staying put is accumulating a debt of time you can never repay. The journey starts with a brutal audit. Forget your budget. Your budget is a document of intentions. We need a map of reality. The first step is calculating your runway. How many months could you live if your income vanished tonight? Take your total cash savings, divide it by your absolute essential monthly expenses: food, shelter, utilities, the bare minimum. The number you get is your runway. For most people, it's measured in weeks. This number is the single most important metric in your life. It's your breathing room. It's your leverage. It dictates every risk you can or cannot take. A person with a 6-month runway makes very different decisions than a person with a 6-day runway. Next, find your true hourly wage. Take your monthly after-tax income. Now divide it by the hours you actually work. Include the commute, both ways. Include the extra hour you spend checking emails from home after dinner. Include the time you spend on Sundays, dreading Monday. Be honest. Now, from that income, subtract all work-related expenses: the gas for your car, the professional clothes, the takeout meals you buy because you're too exhausted to cook. Divide the new, lower income by the new, higher number of hours. The result is often horrifying. The $25 an hour job is suddenly a $14 an hour reality. You are trading your life for $14 an hour. This audit does one thing. It makes the cage visible. The bars are made of comfortable habits and predictable paychecks. You can see the exact dimensions of your confinement. This initial phase produces clarity, a painful, necessary clarity. It shows you the starting line. Most people will do this math once, feel bad for a day, and then go back to scrolling. They see the problem, but they flinch from the scale of the solution. They believe escape requires a single, brilliant idea, a lottery ticket, a moment of genius. The actual escape plan begins with a far quieter, more deliberate action. It starts with building an asset you can take with you anywhere. And that first asset is a skill. The first 2 years of the 5-year plan are about becoming undeniably good at one thing that can be sold directly to a customer or a client. Choose a skill with leverage. This means a skill where your input and output are disconnected. Writing code is leverage. Writing an email is a task. Building a marketing funnel is leverage. Answering a support ticket is a task. Creating a video is leverage. Attending a status meeting is a task. You are looking for a skill that can be packaged and scaled, a skill that can eventually be taught or built into a system. The price of acquiring the skill is 2 hours a day, every day. This is the foundation. It happens before your day job or after your kids are asleep. It's carved out of your leisure time. It replaces Netflix. It replaces aimless social media. 2 hours of focused, deliberate practice and learning. For 730 days straight, this period is a blackout. Nobody will see your progress. There are no external rewards. No promotions. No one will pat you on the back. It is a solitary act of construction happening in the dark. You're building human capital. You are converting wasted time directly into a monetizable ability. This phase is about forging the tool you will use to dismantle the cage. It's slow. It's boring sometimes. You will be tempted to switch skills every few months, chasing the next shiny object. Resist. Mastery in one leverage skill is worth more than mediocrity in 5. You are building depth because depth is what the market pays for. At the end of these 2 years, you have something that cannot be taken from you in a layoff. You own your means of production. It's still tied to you trading time for money. But now you're setting the rate. And you're about to change the entire equation. A skill by itself only makes you a better paid employee, a freelancer. The next 2 years, year 3 and year 4, are about turning that skill into a system. This is the most difficult part of the entire journey. It's where the friction is highest. It's where most people burn out and quit. Because for these 2 years, you are living a double life. You are a full-time employee and a part-time entrepreneur. You leave your day job drained and start your second shift, the work you do for yourself. The goal here is simple: get your first paying client. then your second, then your 10th. You use your leverage skill to solve a painful, expensive problem for a specific type of person or business. You are a one-person service provider, a freelance web developer, a contract copywriter, a fractional marketing consultant. You are doing the work yourself, and you are charging for it. The first dollar you earn this way changes you on a chemical level. It's proof. It's a signal that the asset you built in your head has actual value in the world. As you get more clients, you will hit a ceiling. You run out of hours. This is a critical inflection point. Your instinct will be to just work more, to grind harder. This is a trap. The solution is to begin building the machine. You document every single step of your process, how you find clients, how you onboard them, how you deliver the work. You create checklists, templates, and standard operating procedures for everything you do. You are turning your craft into an assembly line. Then you make your first hire. It's probably a virtual assistant for 5 hours a week, someone to handle the administrative tasks you hate, answering emails, scheduling, invoicing. This act is psychologically profound. You are buying back your own time, using the money your new skill has generated. You reinvest every dollar of profit from your side business back into the business itself. You buy better tools. You pay for smarter advertising. You hire more specialized help. You fire yourself from one task after another. You were the technician. Now you are becoming the architect. You are moving from doing the work to designing the system that does the work. This is the messy middle, the valley of despair. Your day job demands your energy. Your growing business demands your soul. Your social life evaporates. Your sleep schedule suffers. It feels unsustainable. It is. This phase is a filter. It's designed to test your resolve. You're no longer just building a business. You're forging a new identity. Someone who can tolerate uncertainty. Someone who can delay gratification. Someone who can build something from nothing. The business income is growing. It starts as a trickle. Then it becomes meaningful. It might be $1,000 a month, then $3,000. Then maybe it starts to approach half of your day job salary. The system is working. The cage door is starting to creak open. But now you face the final, most insidious trap. Year 5 is the year of the leap. Your business is generating consistent income. It's covering all your essential runway expenses, and maybe more. The math says you can leave. But now you're facing a problem of psychology. Your job, the one you've been planning to escape, has never been more comfortable. You've probably received raises over the past 4 years. You have benefits. You have a predictable, stable paycheck that arrives in your bank account like clockwork. These are the golden handcuffs. They feel warm and secure. Your business, on the other hand, is still volatile. Some months are great, some are terrifyingly slow. It has no paid vacation, no sick days, no human resources department. Your brain, which evolved for survival, screams at you to choose the certainty of the paycheck over the uncertainty of the enterprise. This is the moment of maximum fear. Everything you've worked for comes down to this single decision: to let go of the branch. The people who fail here are the ones who keep moving the goalposts. They tell themselves they'll quit when the business makes as much as their day job. Then, when it does, they say they'll quit when it makes double. They are waiting for a feeling of absolute certainty that will never arrive. The leap is a calculated risk, a controlled demolition of your old life. The trigger is simple. When your business has generated enough net profit to cover your essential runway expenses for 6 consecutive months, it's time. You have your personal runway, your cash savings, as a parachute. The business is the engine. You give your 2 weeks' notice. The conversation will be surreal. Your boss will likely be confused. Your co-workers might think you're insane. They are still inside the cage. They cannot comprehend your decision to leave it. Walking out of that office for the last time is a quiet moment. There are no fireworks. There is no grand celebration. The dominant feeling is the absence of things. The absence of a commute. The absence of mandatory meetings. The absence of a boss. Freedom in its first hours feels like a blank page. It's a vacuum. And it's your job for the rest of your life to fill it with work that matters to you. The 5-year escape plan is a myth. It's a lie. It takes 5 years to execute the plan. It takes 5 years of relentless, focused effort. But the plan itself is simple. You don't escape your job. You build a bridge out of it, piece by piece, until it's strong enough to walk across. You replace your salary with your own revenue stream. The goal was never to stop working. The goal was to gain control over your work, to choose your problems, to own your calendar. The person who starts this journey is gone by year 3. The process of building something from nothing rewires your brain. It replaces obedience with autonomy. It replaces consumption with creation. Financial freedom isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a state of capability you build inside yourself. The cage was never locked. You were just holding a key and thinking it was for a different door. And this same process of building systems to buy back your own time explains exactly why our attempts to manage that time so often fail, which is a psychological puzzle almost everyone gets backward.